Welcome to 949 Racing. This is our latest project car. This is a 95R package that we picked up, salvage title for $700. It's because of this little crunch right here. The frame rail's got a tiny little crinkle in it. But the suspension pickup points are undamaged and the rest of the body was good. It had basically all original panels on it, I believe, except for the nose bumper skin. So we painted it, the obvious color that we paint everything around here. Pink, no wait, that's orange. And this project is to be a street car. We're going to try to make this thing as OEM looking as possible. Trying to spend also as little as possible on this. You can see it's a pretty crappy paint job. It's a $800 special, but we'll clean it up and get rid of some of the overspray here and there. Painted the engine bay. We're putting in a blueprinted MB2 motor. That's the VVT engine with the Japanese spec piston, so it's 10.5 to 1, 20 over. It's basically all factory parts, just blueprinted. So it'll probably make maybe 10 horsepower more as a long block than the US model would, or maybe 12 or 15, who knows. But what we're going to do different with this MB2 engine is we're going to put all OEM parts underneath the hood. In other words, it's going to have the Euro spec exhaust manifold. That's a really nice 4x2x1 with about a 29-inch primary length factory header. That's much nicer than the US piece. Now the Japanese spec piece does not have an EGR, so we're going to use the Euro spec so that we can retain EGR on the thing. We're using the NA8 airbox, but this is an NB2 MAF that we've shoehorned in here because we're going to use an Adaptronic ECU here that uses basically all of the OEM wiring harness. So this is an NB2 wiring harness we've got here, and it's going to be spliced into the NA8 dash harness. It's a project that Adaptronic has helped us with, Andy and Travis here in the United States. Obviously, it's got the Zeta S coilovers that we're going to run. So the idea is to have this thing all looking stock underneath. It'll have the stock crossover tube. It'll have the square top intake manifold, Euro spec intake manifold, and it'll have all the covers on it. It'll basically look stock under the hood. It'll just not be a 95 motor. Obviously, it'll burn a lot cleaner, being that it's a newer engine with the VVT. So it's not going to be really wildly tuned. We'll run it on super. I'm expecting it'll probably make 135, 140 at the wheels, but it'll basically have completely stock drivability. Should be nice and quiet. We're going to put a big fat muffler on it and put a nice big metal cork head on it so it'll burn nice and clean. This car is currently tagged for emissions, and I have a friend who has basically emissions equipment. We're going to go through and test it again to make sure it passes the OBD1 requirements for the state, even though it might not be technically legal, but we're curious to see how clean we can make this thing run and still make power. Suspension-wise, it's all NB2 underpinnings. It's an NB2 subframe. It's a depowered NB2 rack, or NB rack. These are OEM sport brakes with our custom two-piece rotors. They're Zetas with 700, 400 coilovers, and that's actually a triple rate setup that we have here. So 700-pound, our normal 150-pound helper, and then you see a little tender spring in there. That just basically makes it easier to reach this collar, which is kind of a tricky thing to do with the Zetas. Urethane suspension bushings from Prothane, and that pretty much covers the stuff under the hood. Being an R package, it has no AC or anything in it, so there's no radio. We've got OMP grip seats here. We're making some custom seat brackets so that I can fit in here. This is a Hard Dog Hardcore we've had laying around the shop forever, so we're going to use that. This is a cheap eBay steering wheel that will get thrown in the trash. This is just something as a placeholder. This will actually have a Momo 78, a 350 millimeter Momo 78 suede wheel on there, and we use our standard quick release on there. Dash is going to be all stock. So interior will look all factory in this car. Up under here, you see the airbag is gone out, and that's our Adaptronic ECU and relays that's going to go in there. We're going to have basically a switch on this so you can open this up and get access to the ECU and then close it back down. That's not quite done yet. This will probably get a jack down in here so we can plug our phone in. The car will actually have a stereo system, but it'll all be hidden. You won't be able to see it. and it'll be an amplifier, but no head unit. You'll basically plug your phone in, and there'll be a mini jack right here, and you'll use it. Actually, what we're thinking of doing is put it in that side pocket there, putting the jack in the side pocket and run it to the door. So you take your phone, turn it on, plug it in, stick it in there, and boom, you've got sounds without any speakers or any front end unit. So it'll be really clean. Trying to look for, going for a really clean, sanitary look with this car. The diff is the OEM 4.1 Torsen. It'll have a 6-speed and a lightweight clutch out of a 1.6 car. The smaller 200 millimeter diameter clutch with the lightweight chromoly flywheel, and that pretty much goes. That's pretty much it. The car should be quiet, have a nice sporty tone. It won't be too loud. It'll have a big heavy muffler on it. These are 700, 400 spring rates on this. We'll run the 9-inch. In fact, these are the wheels that are all covered in brake dust right now, but these are the 9-inch wheels we had for painted tungsten gray. Had painted those myself with 225/45 Hankook RS3s on 15 by 9s. So it'll be a good autocross car. It's getting some 5-point G-Tech or G-Force Camlock harnesses, so we can run it on the track when we need to. It's really not built specifically as a track car, but on the occasion that somebody wants to take it on the track, we'll be able to do that. Mainly it'll be a street car, an autocrosser, and something to go do Keynote. Oh yeah, here's something. Wire tuck. We didn't do a complete wire tuck. We've done a partial wire tuck on this, so the wiring you see in here, minus the engine harness, is basically it. You see there's not going to be any wires on the outside. There's a couple things here and there, but everything else has been tucked. These holes that we punched through and remove the wire harness. So it's going to look really, really clean under the hood once it's all done. I'm really excited to get a chance to drive this car and show it off. And this is what I think a lot of people want to do. They want to take an NA and make it kind of stock looking, kind of factory, but quick and fun and reliable, without being too radical, too obvious to the police, so you don't get pulled over all the time with a loud exhaust, and still have decent ride quality. The Zetas provide that ride quality even with the racing spring rates in it. And so that's the project. Let's see what else we got here. That's the back end, basically going to look all stock. I'm not going to put the R-package lip spoiler on the rear just because I'm not a big fan of that piece, but we will put the factory R-package lip spoiler in the front, and it'll have some E-code headlights, and that's about all I can think of for now. As this car gets closer to completion here in the next couple weeks, we get it on the dyno, we'll do some more videos and share them with you. So for now, thanks from SuperMiata at 9 for 9 Racing. Stay tuned.